I want to talk to you about Navy Federal credit limit migration. And in today's conversation, I want to share with you a few hacks that will help you actually navigate the whole Navy Federal credit limit migration. This is very important, okay? I want you to stick around until the end of today's conversation.
One in a million, one in a million, one in a million. You know they're coming up to me, cause I'm just the kind of flower with a stinging in the beat, but the rhythm's getting higher. Go, 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 go. One in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million, one in a million.
Welcome back, folks, to another edition of the Awesome Studio Kiwi Show. How are you today? I hope you are doing fantastic. I'm doing marvelous, if you were to ask me. If you are doing as great as I am, go grab a cup of coffee or tea or vodka. Now let's roll. In today's discussion, we want to talk about Navy Federal credit limit migration. Everything you need to know and why you might want to consider a credit limit migration, okay? And the thing is, I first want to define what we're talking about because a lot of folks don't understand when we talk about credit limit migration. In some cases, it's also called credit limit reallocation, okay? What does it really mean? So transferring or shifting credit limits means that you are moving a portion of your available credit from one card to another with the same financial institution, in this case, Navy Federal, okay? And this is actually possible because a card issuer such as Navy Fed allocates a certain amount of borrowing power to cardholders, which may or may not be split among several cards. Moving around your credit limits doesn't increase or decrease your overall available credit. What I'm trying to say here is that when you are a Navy Fed member, they actually allocate a certain portion of limit to your ass. That's what it is. So they look at your ass and say, you know what? Is this a risky ass or this is a non-risky ass? They basically look at your financial history, your Navy Fed internal credit score. They look at your relationship with them, how much cash you have parked at the credit union. So they look at a constellation of factors to allocate, to actually assign a quote unquote risk factor to you. And that risk factor will actually translate into the available limit they assign to you, okay? And I'm talking here about overall limit. So if you have 3 credit cards from Navy Fed and Navy Fed believes that your profile deserves, let's say, $10,000, they're going to allocate that $10,000 among those 3 credit cards. Okay, this is really important. So, what is important to understand here is that it means that you cannot transfer a credit limit from a card with one credit card company to a card with another. So you can only do this within Navy Fed. You can't do it between Navy Fed and Penn Fed, for instance. You got to do it within Navy Fed. So transferring credit limits is different from requesting a credit limit increase or decrease on a card because you're not gaining or losing any available credit. So while your limits will go down on the card from which you are transferring available credit, the limit on the other card will increase in equal measure, okay? So as a result, you will maintain the same total amount of credit with the same credit union, in this case, Navy Fed. So credit card. Boss, I have a question for you. Are you currently in the market for transferring or migrating your credit limits from one Navy Fed credit card to another? Think about it. There are a few things you want to think about, and I'm going to give you the hacks you need to keep in mind before doing that. The first hack is the first strategy is you need to set things up. So when we talk about setting things up, I'm not just talking to you about calling Navy Fed and just asking for this migration to happen. Obviously, you're going to have to do it, but I want you to think beforehand. I want you to have a clear conversation with yourself or with your spouse or whoever is in your household, and you want to have, why are you migrating the credit limits? Think about that. Okay, there's no consequence in terms of a hard pull, but it's important to choose the right target card. Okay, it's good because you have a source card and you have the target card. So the target card has to be the right one. So you can do a Navy Fed credit limit migration in 3 ways. You can call customer service and request a transfer. Okay, one thing we have seen from research is that, and from practice also, because all members of our team are Navy Fed members, and we have advised clients also in terms of Navy Fed credit card application and loan application and whatnot, at the personal level, but also at the business level. And one thing we have seen is that calling customer service is a trial and error, can be a trial and error exercise at times. What I'm trying to say here is that if you're lucky and you actually speak to a knowledgeable rep, then you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a good day, rather. But if you are unlucky, quote unquote unlucky, and you speak with a rep that is not who is not really in tune with what's going on internally, and that happens also, they may not give you the right information. So just be aware of that, okay? So the first option is call customer service and request a branch. The second option is to go to a branch and request a transfer. Okay. Second option is you want to go to a branch and speak to a rep. Okay. So depending on the location, you might have to wait a bit though. Okay. So brace yourself for that. Okay. But we have seen that in some locations are pretty fast. People are really fast in those locations. But if you are in a location that is that sees a lot of foot traffic, you might have to wait a little bit. And if available, you want to send a secure message through your online account. That's the third option. Some cardholders, some Navy Fed cardholders, for example, those holding the Visa Signature Flagship Rewards, or those who are clients in the Navy Fed's wealth management units, they call it their investment services. Those cardholders have the possibility to send a secure message through their online accounts. So bottom line is, and this is a big decision time for you, big decision time. Are you currently a Navy Fed Visa Signature Flagship Rewards card holder? Or are you a member? Are you a client in their wealth management unit? In other words, do you have some cash? Do you have some extra cash to park in the credit union? Then you can actually set things up online. If not, it will have to be over the phone or at a branch. I want to talk to you about limitations. So basically, generally, 5 specific scenarios will limit your ability to perform a credit limit migration. So I've defined what a migration is, okay? So you just basically are shifting, or you are reallocating credit limits from one card to another. You're not changing anything. But there are 5 scenarios that will prevent you from performing a credit limit migration. So based on our research, and we have been doing this for 10 years now. So if you have, we have recency of membership. What is that? It means that if your membership is recent, if your ass just got into Navy Fed 3 months, 4 months, they haven't seen a lot of it. They need at least 6 months, 6 good months of transactional volume at the personal level to actually estimate what kind of relationship you have with them. Okay, they're going to monitor your account. So recency of membership. If you're too recent, you may not be able to migrate your credit limits. If you have a problematic account history, in other words, you have been with Navy Fed and it's all been problems after problems after problems with you, what's up with that? If you're having that right now, I want you to stop. Okay, I want you to stop because it carries consequences. And one of them is that you can't migrate credit limits. Okay, so if you have a problematic account history, not good. If you have a low Navy Fed internal score, that's also bad because that will preclude you from doing the migration that I'm just talking about. And by the way, the Navy Fed internal score goes from 100 to 450. So if you are just hanging out around 100, 150, and 200, you have a low score, and that's bad. That's bad, boss. That's really bad. So if your score is really low, they may not allow you to do a credit limit migration. Also, the way the account is set up. So if your card has, if your card is managed by, let's say, a joint or a guardian relationship, this could be a problem also. Okay, what I'm trying to say is that if you are not the only signatory to the card, and any decision on the card or on the account, on the underlying account, has to go through several people or one more person, this could be a problem. So you can't just pick up the phone and ask for a credit limit migration. No. And also the card setup. So if you have a card holdership, you are sharing the card with your wife or with your husband, and you just by yourself call Navy Fed and ask them to do a credit limit migration, but the settings on the account ask for both signatures, they may not do it. So it's important to have a clear conversation with your co-card holder before you call. So money, 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 money. You can see here is that the bottom line is you want to have a good relationship with Navy Fed in terms of deposit accounts. You want to be around for a while, no recent membership here, okay? And you also want to keep a high Navy Fed internal credit score. I want to talk to you about the reasons why you might want to think about doing a Navy Fed credit limit migration. I mean, the thing is, you may want to transfer credit limits from one card to another for a lot of reasons. Number one, you use one card more often. Yeah, listen, the thing is, if you have, let's say you have 3 credit cards you have the Go, you have the Platinum, you have the Amex, the Navy Fed Amex card, and you just realize, hey, wait a minute. I've been using this card, one particular card, I've been using the Gold card or the Platinum card more often. And the other cards are just sitting there, they're just dormant. Well, guess what? Maybe you might want to transfer limits, credit limits, from your 2 other cards onto the Platinum card. Because the thing is that if that's the one that you use a lot, that means that it is suitable for you in terms of the rewards, in terms of the balance transfers, in terms of the cashback, whatever, So that's really important. So, and by doing that, if you are moving available credit from the card you use less frequently to the card you use more frequently, you can benefit in several ways, boss. Several ways. Number one, it gives you more spending power. Think about that. You don't have to worry about constantly bumping up against your credit limit if your limit has increased significantly. Yeah. Because I mean, every time you have to swipe and you have to worry about, do I have a credit limit of 5,000? I'm already at 4,900 and I can't make this purchase. Well, guess what, boss? If you have $2,000 or $3,000 available on the other card and you're not using that card, transfer the $2,000 onto the Platinum card so that you have a 6,900 in credit limits as opposed to 4,900. Okay, and it allows you to earn more rewards also. If you are using one card more because you prefer its rewards program, having more spending power with a card gives you the opportunity to better maximize your rewards earning potential. This is just logic to me, right? Simple logic. And the third thing is that if you do a credit limit migration, you are able to improve your credit utilization ratio. I mean, we know that CUR is really important, whether it is at Navy Fed or other card issuers. Okay, so what is your CUR? Your CUR is the percentage of your credit limit that you are using at any given time. And we all understand it is an important factor in determining your credit score, right? So if you use one card more than the other, increasing its limit can help drive down your utilization rate and potentially increase your credit score. I'll be right back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, folks, to another session of the Awesome Sweetie Kiwi Show. We are still having a conversation today about Navy Federal credit limit migration, and I want to keep on talking to you about the reasons why you might want to consider doing a migration. Okay, so the first thing is you use one card more often. The second reason could be you are closing a credit card. Oh yeah, as crazy as this might sound, some people might at some point close a Navy Fed credit card. Now, I'm not saying it is bad, but I'm saying it's crazy because you never want to close a credit card unless they're charging you a crazily high APR or they're charging you an annual fee and you're not using the card. Because keeping the card open has some perks. You are lengthening your credit history, which is great to boost, which is great when it comes to boosting your FICO. Okay, but hey, listen. The thing is, One of the drawbacks of closing a Navy Fed credit card is that you lose the available credit on that card. So depending on the situation, losing that available credit could increase your utilization ratio to the point that it decreases your FICO score. Remember, your CUR accounts for 30% of your FICO score. That's a huge chunk. Okay, I mean your CUR accounts for 30%, and your payment history accounts for 35%. Think about that, boss. So we're talking, if you add the two, you are at 65%, and that's nearly 2/3 of your FICO score. Okay, and so this is really good. So if you're closing a credit card from Navy Fed and you want to alleviate the potential problem that will come from losing the available credit on that credit card, you can move available credit from the card you are planning to close, so you can still enjoy the benefits that come with it. Okay, and another reason you might want to consider credit limit migration is if you are opening a new Navy Fed credit card, because one of the factors that card issuers such as Navy Fed consider when you apply for a new credit card is how much available credit you already have with them. In other words, how much exposure they already have with you, okay, or they already have vis-a-vis you. So if you have reached your maximum, you'll have a hard time getting approved for the new card unless you can move some of your available credit from an existing account to the new one. Okay, so this is not always an option though, but it can be a good way to get the card you want without having to cancel another card with this credit union. Okay, so this is really good. So credit card. Overall, you want to think about the reasons why you might want to transfer credit limits, and be very sure about the consequences. Okay, be sure about the future implications of that migration. Now, you can also, and I want to keep on talking to you about reasons why you might want to transfer credit limits. Okay, you can do this to earn more rewards also. Yeah, I mean, this is more applicable to points enthusiasts and rewards enthusiasts and cashback enthusiasts. So if you are one of them, I mean, this is a no-brainer, okay? Because if let's say you spend a lot on advertising, or you spend a lot on dining, for example, you probably want to earn as many points as possible, right? You just want to take your family to a nice dinner. You want to treat everyone to a nice dinner, or you want to travel and take your dream vacation, okay? And so if a Navy Fed credit card allows you to actually maximize your rewards through those activities, it just makes sense to actually transfer whatever limits you have on one card onto the card that maximizes your rewards. Okay, this is important. And the bottom line is that whenever you have a Navy Fed credit card, or any other credit card for that matter, make sure the card actually is in sync with the kind of lifestyle that you have, the kind of spending pattern that you have. Okay, and it's really important. And just make sure though, you want to watch your credit for an impact. Generally, there is no impact on your credit score when you do a migration. Why? Because the credit union, in this case Navy Fed, they're not losing anything, and you're not asking for a raise in your credit limits, so there is no additional exposure. There's no credit risk. Okay, but in some cases there might be situations where you might have a small ding. Again, it depends on how you ask. It depends on what kind of decision Navy Fed made, but overall there shouldn't be. So big decision time. One thing I want you to do is when you contact Navy Fed, you want to ask them, will this have an impact on my FICO? In other words, are you guys doing a hard pull at all to approve this? Or this is just a soft pull? Normally, again, this should not even result in a pull, either hard or soft, because there is no credit event here, okay? But you never know. Before I close today's conversation, I want to give you a few considerations to think about. And I want you to ponder those considerations really, really importantly, okay? The thing is, there are times, and everybody goes through these times, when it's not a good idea to request a credit limit increase, okay? And obviously, in today's conversation, we have not been talking about credit limit increase. We've been talking about credit limit migration. Okay, and the thing is, one of the biggest risk factors that Navy Fed and other credit unions and other financial institutions must account for is their willingness to lend you money. Okay, so if you are given a huge credit limit and you don't use it responsibly, banks and credit unions, including Navy Fed, will ultimately lose a bunch of money from you. That's what we call your exposure, their exposure to you. Okay, and so some banks and credit unions, including Navy Fed, will consider applying for they'll actually applying for a credit limit reduction to actually limit their exposure to you. In other words, if you're asking for a credit limit increase, they might look at it as a risky activity. Okay, so if done enough times, this can result in a financial review or an account shutdown. So we really want to think about that. Okay, so when we talk about your overall relationship with Navy Fed, you got to be really careful about how often you ask for a new credit, how often you ask for an increase. Okay, a migration is not an increase. That's why there's no hard pull or soft pull. But again, anytime you have an interaction with Navy Fed, they actually have to record it and make sure that all your interactions with them are positive. Okay, so it's very important. So if you're asking for a credit limit increase specifically, you might get a hard inquiry on your credit report, especially if Navy Fed sees a decrease in your assets on the personal side, and they look at your you have no direct deposit with them, and they see that your cash position is going down, or your Navy Fed internal score is kind of low, or your FICO score is kind of low, or that you're not actually they really don't see any cash inflow coming into the account, into your accounts with them, then this could result in a hard pull. Okay, so very important. So please do not ask for a credit limit increase unless you actually need it. Very important. So I just want to say that. And money. At the end of the day, it's all about liquidity. It's all about you being able to show that you are in a strong cash position. Okay, if you are able to maintain that positive liquidity status, this is really great. You can reallocate credit limits. You can do whatever you want, and it will not result in a hard pull or soft pull. Thank you so much for your attention to this conversation. I was talking to you about Navy Federal credit limit migration, and I defined the term for you. I told you how to set things up, the limitations, the reasons, and the considerations you need to have. Thank you so much for your attention. I'll speak to you another time, but until then, remember, stay marvelous.